It's that time. We are back. You might have thought we were going to go away. We didn't go away. We're back here. Martin Montana with Charlie Marlow. Episode 2 of I Called That. And Charlie, before, I almost want to talk about this right away because there's not a more fitting title based on how we ended our last episode. But before we get there, tell me a little bit about, you kind of mentioned like off the cuff here, but you, I don't know, you're getting a little criticism, a little heat about your home setup there. Is that?
Yeah, you know how it goes, especially with your buddies, some of which are our mutual friends. As I was telling them, we got this podcast going, of course. So last week, you know how it is. And I think this is part of the Zoom world that we're all living in, where like every part of your house potentially is a studio. So you're trying to find anywhere. So last week I had some people working at the house. We had a painter and I just didn't want to be upstairs. So I go downstairs. The lighting is not as great. You know, the setup, I got a couch. I'm basically in my daughter's playroom. So I put the podcast out there. We put it on YouTube, of course, here where you can see our beautiful faces. Right. And nobody's talking about the content. Oh, dude, your lighting sucked, man. Martin looked so much better than you. He had a professional setup. He had Caesar's Palace. He's got shock top. He's like, your background sucked. And I'm like, I know, but I didn't want to be doing it up here when my painter's in the house. And then, of course, so I got the setup. I got the ring light, which, of course, just turned off. So I hope it doesn't turn back off again now that we're recording. But I'm ready to go. And then my neighbor down here is getting his whole freaking house re-sided. And they're doing saber saws down there. So I don't know if you can hear that. But basically,
I cannot hear it. You're good.
Okay. You can never find anywhere that you can have some peace and quiet. My dog's here. I guarantee you he goes crazy the second time the mailman comes. So we gotta work through it.
Well, you know what? First of all, and these are some of our friends, but you know, this is the world in general. You know what I mean? If it's our friends, I like it because I would do the same thing. When it's a stranger, it's weird. That's where I draw the line because I would never, first of all, I don't go around like commenting on YouTube videos personally, you know, not that we don't want that, but I don't do it. What I do is if I watch something and I took the time to watch it and I liked it, I like it. I throw out the likes, you know, I'm not holding on to those things like they cost money, you know? So if I watched it, I was like, okay, good. Boom. Like, great. But when someone takes the time to, you know, like somebody, you have no idea who they are. It's not a joke. They're not being sarcastic. And they're like, this lighting sucks. I remember I put up something from the quick little podcast with Kitseko. Someone was like, this is the worst editing I've ever seen. I'm like, first of all, dude, I don't know who you are and who in the world takes the time out of their day to like write that negative, you know what I mean? And I know what the answer is. It's like, it's the power trip. It's like this person living in their mom's basement loves to be judge and jury of some random clip that goes, and then that's what it is. You know what I mean? They like that. They like to say that I can judge you and critique you. So Charlie, I got your back. You know what I mean? If you want to do it in the dark with a flashlight, so be it, man. It's our podcast.
I love it. Okay. So I got two things. I grabbed my phone there because I got a funny tweet I got to read you, but also, so we were trying to make the graphic and everybody that does a podcast, they do these cartoon graphics. I wasn't able to do a good one. You did on your site, Canva, whatever the editing site is.
Yep.
And I think I sent you a picture that maybe was darker than yours. So I was, you know, this day and age, people cancel people for stuff and all that. And I looked borderline blackface. I thought,
no, stop it.
No,
I'm going to pull it up right now.
It's not that bad, but I'm like, you know what? This is, I looked very dark in that picture. And now, of course, my ring light goes off right as I say that. But that's what they were chirping me for. Oh, this picture looks nothing like you, dude. Your face is red and all that. But that's your buddies. No
way, dude. I'm looking at it right now. First of all, right. It's a cartoon where they just like shaded whatever colors were in the photo. If anything, you know, you look like you had a nice weekend in the Bahamas and you look relaxed. I mean, granted, you got the suit and tie on. It's your work clothes, but I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that one. It's a cartoon. Then I'm like red almost. But that's the magic of a cartoon.
It's all good. Again,
I look at us defending. This is what happens. We're running to defend a cartoon that's like a filter thing. It's like, I don't create that. It just does it.
Okay. So you said earlier about people who they're going to take the time to give you just this horrible comment. So I'm very sarcastic on Twitter now, and I'm not doing this to get people like, hey, I'm trying to trick you. I do this to try to be funny, and I think most of my followers understand my sense of humor. So last night, you probably saw this during the Bucks game down there, of course, where you're living. So Tom Brady gets the bloody lip. Okay, he gets
Yes.
the bloody lip, and they show the picture. He looks very effeminate, right? He's got the bloody lip, and so I tweet out there. I go, I'll read the tweet. I say, Tom Brady playing with a slightly bloody lip is the most heroic and courageous performance in the history of sports. Obvious sarcasm, I thought. Obvious sarcasm. So many people responded calling me an idiot. They're talking about, oh, Jack Youngblood played with a broken leg. So like people clearly didn't get that I was being sarcastic here, which then made me worry about the future of our country because it was such an obvious sarcastic comment. But then somebody always takes it way too far. So this dude named Cody, who I don't know, he responds and he says, most heroic my ass. Why don't you suck his D while you were on your knees? JJ Watt played with a busted nose. That was more heroic than a small lip cut. Like not only
The best part is, but the best part about that is he wherever, you know, BlackBerry device from 15 years ago he's on or whatever, he sent that, like he wrote that. That was, and I don't think that was edited. I think that was raw. That's his raw emotion, right? He wrote that, he sent that, and then he probably walked in the kitchen with his 3 kids and watched cartoons or something. You know what I mean? Like it's not, none of it makes sense. None of that makes sense.
And yeah, I edited that. He actually said, you know,
yeah.
S my D. I was trying to edit it for content, even though we don't have to here on YouTube and the podcast. But again, like
it's unbelievable.
You can't understand sarcasm. And then not only that, but you're going to get so mad that you're going to come after me and tell me to do stuff like that.
I love it. You know what it reminds me of? When I was little, I grew up in Virginia, and then we moved to Connecticut when I was like in 5th, 6th grade, something like that. And when we would go sometimes to like Jets or Giants games, like my friends, you know, friends would get tickets because their parents were into it. Like, ironically, like I love sports. My dad could care less, fishing and drinking alcohol. We would go down, and like the dad or whoever was driving us to the game would play The Fan out of New York, right? Like The Fan Sports Talk Radio, WFAN.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're describing is the lunatic call-in guy who's, I know you've dealt with this in your career, that's screaming and like, it's all of that minus that you teed it off with a joke, with being sarcastic, let alone you were having like a serious debate. Like, okay, you know, what should we do at the quarterback position? It was like, no, you were just kidding. Pretty clear to me. And then somebody goes there. It's like the real answer here is, what's going on in your life, Cody? What's wrong? What's really bothering you? Because I know it's not Tom Brady's barely bloody lip. Like, what's the issue? Let's get behind that. Let's dig into that.
Right. And that's where, you know, I shouldn't have responded, but I did. I was waking up this morning before my radio show, and I already last night had to put out there, look, folks, just so you know, I was being sarcastic. But then when Cody got to me, you know what I'm saying? Like Cody took it too far. I'm starting to look up Cody's tweet history to figure out about what he's all about, you know? And so I just said, Cody, imagine being so insanely dumb you can't detect obvious sarcasm and then responding with something like this. Congrats. That's you. Now, I should be the bigger man. I'm almost 40 years old. And then I also think about other people that follow me on Twitter can see that. And they can see that I respond to this idiot Cody. I just couldn't help myself. Like I couldn't. I mean, when somebody tells you to S their D, like, can I not respond? It's really hard not to respond there.
There's no right answer.
You know?
Because I'm with you. You want to go high road, but hey, you're a person, right? At some point, like why? The problem with the high road is that you subject yourself to then just being a free punching bag for a while. And it's like, why do I, trust me, I run into this all the time. I'm like, why do I have to do that? But you feel like a kid, right? You're like, why do I have to do that?
No, it's unbelievable. And that's where I should be the bigger man. I just can't. Like that one took it too far. All these other
Yeah.
people, they also didn't understand the sarcasm and they ripped on me. But Cody took it to a line where I felt the need. I had to respond to Cody. So we'll see.
We have to. We have to brag. We have to gloat. You know, we left our very first episode of I Called That saying what? What was our lock pick? Our only pick, the Bengals to cover. And they didn't even need to cover. We could have gone money line, but we're not greedy.
Mm-hmm.
We both were solid in that opinion, were we not?
Yeah, we won't bring up the fact that we also liked the Bucks to beat the Rams, but that was the secondary pick. Again,
that was a secondary pick. Don't even bring. Why would you even bring that up?
I don't know why I did.
That was a secondary pick.
The best.
My question to you was one pick, and then I agreed with you. We said if we're going to take one pick, that's what we wanted, and that's what we got, and that's literally I called that. That's genius. That's a genius in the making. So we'll do another pick, but yes, we will keep tally, and we are 1-0, my friend.
And Martin was loving this pick to a point too that he texted me and said, "Hey, can we put some real money down on this?" Which I was about, and I was able to get a small taste on that game. My friends that I gamble with were small timers, right? So we're not betting big money. But look, I have to say I went 2-1 gambling over the weekend. Now our best bet, that's the one we really focus on. I also took the over. I don't know why I did this in the Packers-Niners game. I guess I didn't look at the weather report, the fact that it was like impossible to even catch the football whatsoever. Right. And then I liked the Chiefs. That was luck, man. That was the greatest game I think I've ever seen. Neither team deserved to lose that game. I almost feel bad for the Bills. You know, we're the same age-ish. Growing up, watching the Bills lose in the Super Bowl 4 straight years. Now they got Josh Allen, who's really fun to watch. I feel bad for Buffalo. Like, even though I won my bet, I mean, Kansas City won a Super Bowl a couple years ago. I feel bad for the city of Buffalo that they haven't won a Super Bowl basically since I've been alive.
I totally agree. That was an amazing game. I actually watched that whole game. Yeah, it was. I mean, you were just like, how can they score? And then when Mahomes get the ball back, what was it, like 13 seconds or something? I mean, you're like, okay, it's done. But then you were also like, you hear Romo on the play-by-play being like, oh, I would have kicked it in bounds and tried to drain off like 5 seconds. And I was like, oh, that's ridiculous. I'm watching. I'm like, nah, that's a wrap. Come on, that's ridiculous. And then like 2 chunk plays, and you're like, oh my, no, stop it. It was hard. It was heartbreaking. If you're a Bills fan, it was heartbreaking.
That's where too, we talked about this on my radio show where I would never try to pretend that me as a fan would think of this, but this is the difference between being a head coach and you practice stuff like that. Look at last week when the Cowboys are not able to get their second playoff with 14 seconds because either Dak goes too far, they don't toss the referee the ball, they're not able to spot the football. That was 14 seconds. They run that play, and then they're not able to get their Hail Mary playoff to actually have a chance to win. Look at what the Chiefs did in 13 seconds. They're able to get about 2 20-yard plays to set up it wasn't even that crazy of a field goal. It's 49 yards, right? And when I heard Romo say that, so I would never pretend like I would have thought of that. But I do think that's something a coach has to think about, because when Romo said that, and then after the fact, you think about it more, if you kick that ball, now you are risking a big return, which I think is part of the equation. But the Chiefs only probably would have been able to get 1 playoff, and they probably don't get in field goal range.
Yeah, it was. First of all, he's really good, Romo. He's he's like. I mean, I could watch games with him anytime, because he's just, I don't know. He's like right in there. You know, he like when he started doing play-by-play. Do you remember that? He kept predicting the plays they were running, like, you know, just watching the formation, be like, oh, this looks like, you know, like, okay, I'm into this. I like this. I like this predictor ability. But yeah, man, he's just good. I mean, that's a pro's pro. Like, you know, the way he sees all these little details, as opposed to the general, you know, sometimes it's the general, we need something big here, you know, and you're like, yeah, I know we need some big announcer guy. Well, Romo's good, man.
Yeah. So the predicting thing is funny because it even got to a point where, and Joe Buck loves to have fun, but he would even have fun with Troy Aikman. If Troy Aikman got a prediction right, and he'd say, "Oh yeah, guys on other networks are pretty good at predicting." It became a thing to
I
talk
like that.
about, and he was doing it in fun.
Right.
But if you remember, also at the end of that game, so Travis Kelce catches the game-winning touchdown. He gets 2 feet in bounds, but then also, nowadays they try to do, in my opinion, anything to make something not a catch. And you look at it, they're like, "Did the ball move 1 millimeter?" And it's like, you got athletes who are twisting and turning. He catches it, he turns, he gets both feet down. I mean, does the ball go like this for like
Yeah.
a millisecond? And they're trying, and so Romo said at one point, "Oh, Jim, it might not be over. Oh, Jim, it's over."
That's a
I just
decent
feel
Romo.
like,
Keep going.
right, but I just feel like we do almost anything nowadays to say that a catch is not a catch. Like back in the day, without replay and all that, I bet you the greatest catches in the history of football all would not have been catches if 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 nowadays we could play them with like a million replays. You know what I'm saying?
100%. It's way too much. I mean, the general idea, you're watching something real time. You tell me, like, you try to catch a football and get hit or be falling down to the ground and rolling, like, as long as you have it, you still kind of had it, you're good. That's it. Because sure, if you're going to slow it down to 1/10 of a second and go frame by frame, well, like, oh, look, it moved a little, it touched the ground. Yeah, it touched the ground, but you're holding the ball. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing to debate. So I'm with you. It's too much. Like, go back to simple. He has the ball, caught it, feet in bounds. It's then, to me, it's over, right? Isn't the play over? You caught it and you had 2 feet in, 2 body parts in. That's it. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, then you could throw the ball, like just huck it in the stands. Like, you completed it. It was over. Because it's the same idea as crossing the plane of the goal line, right? On a running play, if the rule is the nose of the ball just crosses, it's a touchdown. And how many times have you seen a running play where they just crosses and then they get shoved back 7 yards? And they're like, well, that's a touchdown. Why should a catch be any different? You were holding it, feet in, 1 second or whatever, boom, right there. That's it. Done.
Okay, so I think this was. I don't want to be a victim of recency bias or prisoner of the moment, but I think this was the best NFL weekend I can ever remember. And you say that, and it sounds like hyperbole, but you had, of the 4 games, 3 of them ended with walk-off buzzer-beating field goals at the buzzer, and the other one, oh, by the way, had a tying field goal at the buzzer of regulation, and you win on a Chiefs walk-off touchdown. So the NFL games were absolutely crazy. I watched a lot of all of them, and it was amazing. And I thought what was funny, though, is, the one game I probably watched the least amount, because I went out Saturday night. My family was in town, and I basically, at halftime, we're watching Packers 49ers. My wife changed the channel to something else during halftime. I'm like, okay, we'll go back at the end. We both fell asleep. And this is where, I don't know if you've been in this situation, but when you fall asleep for the entire end of a game, and that moment, now I had the over in that game. I knew it wasn't going to hit, even at halftime, no chance. It was 7-zip Green Bay. So, like, I didn't care about my bet, but that next morning, or if you wake up in the middle of the night and you check to see if your bet won, and you get to go to ESPN.com and see if your bet won. But that was one of my times where I went to that totally thinking I would see Green Bay beats the 49ers, whatever, 17-3. And then I look at ESPN.com, and oh my God, the 49ers actually somehow beat the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable that run. And then, when you talk about betting, what I'll do is, which makes no sense. If I'm like, oh, that can't be right. It's posted on ESPN. I'm like, that can't be right. Let me see it by quarters. So let me look at the box score. I don't believe it. There must be typo in here somewhere. No, that's the score. Dead wrong. Unbelievable. There's bettors out there that took 49ers to make it to the Super Bowl and to win the Super Bowl, because there's bets on everything. So I want to know who's holding that ticket and what was that payout? If you took that before Dallas,
yeah,
that's gotta be big, big, big ticket.
I love the fact that you're going to ESPN ESPN.com. First of all, is this even a reliable source? ESPN? I mean, it says
Yeah.
the game is 13. I don't know if I can trust ESPN. Hey, let me add up the points in the quarters. They might have got their math wrong, right? It's seven.
That's not even a joke. Like, I'll do that. I'll be like, no. That's nope. Let me open that. It's like back in the day, I get the paper, like this. Let me see what really happened.
That's awesome. So then after the game, so I will admit that I fell asleep during the second half. And then as I wake up, now I can't go back to sleep. So I'm on Twitter and I'm on Twitter too much. And a lot of times I don't even tweet, but I'm more just looking at what's going on. And I see this response of clearly Aaron Rodgers has now become a target or the sports target of the left in the same way that I think LeBron James is in terms of he's targeted from folks on the right. And I like both these guys, by the way. And I don't agree with everything that they say all the time, but I think at the end of the day, they're both good guys. But some of these tweets were pretty funny in terms of, Aaron Rodgers not getting the vaccine. So he didn't have a shot. Well, now he doesn't have a shot at the Super Bowl. And it was just crazy to me because I guess Aaron Rodgers did an interview where he called out President Biden a little bit. I didn't even hear the interview, but I didn't know that Aaron Rodgers was such this target until after this game ends. And anybody who has any type of, if you're a Democrat, left wing, whatever, if you're a person that talks on social media, he was getting destroyed by everybody. And it was just, I don't know, it was funny to me. It's just crazy how people, they kind of want to put politics into everything. And
Absolutely.
I have nothing against LeBron or Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers clearly right now is wearing it from folks on the left.
I mean, I agree. This is the easy general thing with politics, religion, any topic like that they say like, oh, be careful, don't talk about. We could talk about anything if it's going to be like an actual conversation. The problem with both of these subjects is it's never a conversation. It's one person or one side like screaming their agenda, their points at someone else and just basically trying to validate why they're right, without doing any listening or trying to be like, well, let me put myself in that other person's shoes. Like what would make me maybe make that choice or do something in that? No, forget it. And social media just amplifies it and amplifies, the clickbait and the shock and all that. So I'm with you. I could sit down and have a conversation about any side of anything because I'm willing to suspend my own idea and go, all right, well, I don't agree with what you're saying, but explain. Let me hear out. You're a product. I'm a product of how we grew up. The lens we've built is like from toddler infancy up. This is how we view the world. This is the reasons why, and it's complicated, but it's kind of that simple, right? So I agree. I like both of those guys, and it's never that simple. So nothing simple, right? So if you're going to say like, oh, I hate LeBron now because of his comments on X, or I hate Aaron Rodgers because he didn't want to get a vaccine. Is it really that simple? Is it like, is life that simple? Like one stance or whatever? To me, it's like, it's not. But of course, to your point, if there's a political side that wants to get involved, well, here's the line. And now you're on this side. So you're the worst thing on the planet. And it's like, well, we're going to function like that. I mean, this is why the divide is so great. And this is why really, nothing gets done to meet in the middle or try to understand the other side. So, this is us getting into the serious stuff, but I mean, this is real. I mean, if people would just say, don't talk, just listen. So before you're about to spew whatever, just hold up. Hear out the other person, try to understand how did they come to that point. And maybe it would change the way you think. Maybe not, but maybe it would.
Great points. And I have to say, Martin, first of all, this is where maybe I'm a diva because I know you were living out there in Hollywood for a while and you probably saw a lot of folks like this, especially in the entertainment world, in the TV movie world. But we started this podcast today where I'm basically saying that our buddies are chirping me for my bad lighting, for my microphone. And then as that's happening, my ring light went out. Okay. So we had to edit and come back because here's the thing. You and I had probably a 10, 15-minute conversation. and I think it was pretty good. But in my head, all I could think about was that my ring light had went out and that people are going to continue to chirp me and criticize me for my bad lighting. So I had to just say, even though your points on politics were fantastic, I was like, Martin, I have to go. I have to fix this ring light situation. Otherwise, I can't focus on anything else.
You were basically like, yeah, good stuff. Listen, I don't want Cody to come at me again on Twitter, so let's pause. I got to adjust my powder here. I'm getting a little.
So that was that. I apologize, but I just had to do it because again, I can't have our friends on the group text chirping me again. Which, by the way, on that note, and we'll get back to the NFL and all that, but on our radio show today. So we have Matt Holliday on the show every Monday, former Cardinal, Colorado Rockies, really great Major League Baseball career, and we love having him on the show because he likes now to talk about kind of everything but baseball. Like he just jokes around. We talk about today, for example, we asked him about Bigfoot. Does he believe in Bigfoot? We were making fun of one of my co-hosts because he was calling red sauce, spaghetti sauce, gravy, but he's not Italian. And I said, I think only Italians can do that. I don't think you can do that and call it gravy if you're not Italian. And then I asked Matt Holliday a question because I like to kind of get to know these guys. What do you like off the field, right? And I said, do you also have these group texts where, COVID hits and everybody has all these group texts? You have one from high school, a college friend group. Maybe you live somewhere. Maybe you played on a sports team. All these group texts come out. And, COVID, nobody had anything to do. It was boring. People weren't either working or working from home. Well, now it's 2 years later. Like the world is pretty much back to normal. And we don't have all this time. We're not at home. People are working. And the group texts are still going strong, too strong, in my opinion, to the point that they're really annoying to me. Like, I wonder, and Matt Holliday said this, do any of these people work? Do people work that have anything to do where I get in my car and if your Bluetooth is connected to your phone, I get in the car and all it is ding, 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 ding. Yeah. Somebody likes, somebody comments, somebody loves. And it's like, it's annoying to me.
I can't do it. I'm with you. I cannot be in group text. It's like, it's worse than a group email, those can be awful because you show up one day with 47 emails just because 8 people wanted to keep responding. And you have, when you get a group email and then you haven't even read the first one and you're like, what is all this? And then you got to like, do I really want to read this like conversation over email? No, probably not. But then I should read it. And then I'm not going to respond now, right? All the jokes have been laid out. It's too, like my window's gone. It wouldn't make sense 12 hours later to come in. So then you're the guy not responding. So I'm out on both fronts and I'm out on group text. Like, sure, here comes the group text. Here's a little response. That's it. We're not doing this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Like I can't, it's too much. And emojis and then the video clips and check this out. And I just can't, I'm like, right. I'm like, who? I don't want it. I don't want that. I don't want to have to feel like, all right, let me come up with something witty here. Here we go. Oh, here's my little joke on this. Like, I don't want a part of that.
Right. And to me, it's also about, do they catch you at the right time? So I'll be honest. I'm busy, but I'm not that busy. I have 2 kids. So there's times where I'm not going to look at my phone at all and I don't want to be involved. But if it is that at one time where, I got 15 minutes, I might be the most active person in that group chat for that 7 to 10 minutes. So maybe I'm actually ripping on myself here. But then what I really don't like is when you miss like an hour. So if your phone is, let's say you're charging, you just want to get away from your phone. You're like, I'm tired of looking at my phone. And then you pick your phone up and what do you look at? You look at your notifications and it says 275 or whatever it is. You've missed. And by the way, we can call out directly. Like we'll call out our mutual friend, Paul Tokars. He's put himself on like 4 group texts where I swear they're all the same people. And the group text, the only difference is like 1 or 2 people. Right. And I'm like, why don't we just have one? And then he'll send the same pictures to all of them. And I'm like, dude, I just saw this picture in 2 or 3 other group texts. But then also, so I pick my phone up and if I see that I've missed 87 texts, and look, that happens. I mean, you'll look, 142
I'm out. I'm going to Cricket Wireless.
That's the
I'm
thing.
out.
I don't even want to go back because I feel like it'll take too much time. I would rather delete it and I'll miss the entire conversation. I have no idea what was said, but I'm not going back for 27 minutes to read what everybody said.
Just be careful with that. You delete the whole the whole group, and then you see the last one, and it was like, "Sorry for your loss." You're like, "Oh no, I should have."
Okay, so on that note, that's another part of these group texts,
Right?
Where now one time I left one, and I wasn't doing it because, hey, I don't want to ever be friends with you guys again. I was doing something on this laptop, and I had just bought the laptop. I hadn't figured out yet how to remove the texts from my laptop. So as I'm trying to work and I'm editing, I got headphones in. It's just ding, 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 because it's dinging every time somebody sends a text.
And it's all Paul Tokar's.
Well,
with his by the way, with his automated group text scheduling, you know what I mean?
Yes.
He's probably using like a bot that does it and just spreads it across all these different texts, all these group texts. I mean, I don't know if that's genius or if that's insane.
No, it's insane. And apparently that this conversation was very political at the time. I wasn't even reading it because I was working. And so I left the conversation. Everybody thought I left it because I was mad about the politics of the conversation, when it was just, I was so sick of hearing the dings. And I also knew what was going to happen. They would put me right back in the text, which always happens. My friends think it's hilarious that let's say that text from the weekend's going strong. Let's say it's going all Saturday, Sunday. People are gambling, people are having fun. And then Monday hits, and you got some people who are serious about work. So those folks will actually leave the conversation Monday morning when the text conversation gets back going. So they leave wanting to just say, hey, can I just work today? And everybody thinks it's hilarious to bring them right back in immediately. Like, you literally can't leave these conversations. My friends will not let you leave. I actually delete the conversations all the time. And I know I'll never leave because it'll come right back in 7 minutes.
I got to be honest. You got to get new friends. There's no other choice. There's no other choice. I mean, you're stuck in a tornado of guys that love to text, and that's a problem. You know, I don't think you're going to change all of their behaviors. There's too many.
So you think this is on me though? Like, do you not have similar?
No, I'm now out. I've over the years, I was in several, and they just noticed my lack of response. They took me out, and I'm okay with that. You know, and so once in a while I'll get here's a 3-4 person, you know, we'll text back and forth. I think I'm in one now with a bunch of UVA guys, but there's not too much. It's not crazy. It's not anything. It's not overwhelming. It's just, a couple of things come by, some happy birthdays. Oh yeah. Nobody wished me happy birthday on that group text. And then like 4 days later, it was another guy's birthday and they were like, happy birthday. I'm like, but that's probably on me. I don't really respond in there. They probably forgot I was even in there. You know what I mean? Or maybe it was personal.
Yeah, well, the whole thing about the group text to me is that it is personal, where the difference to me is with an email, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but I will go a long time without responding to an email just because you have so many, like, you know, every business that you've ever bought something from, you know, hey, Merry Christmas, we value you. And I try to unsubscribe. That's another part. I try to unsubscribe. You know, somehow Kohl's is sending me emails for my 30% off coupon. I swear to you, Martin.
You love Kohl's.
I try to freaking unsubscribe. Some of them don't even let you. You'll unsubscribe.
That's right.
And then I'll get the email again and it'll have an X. And I go, what the hell? I unsubscribe from this. And then they go, no, go to your system preferences. It's like, you won't even let me unsubscribe. Now I have to go figure out my system preferences. I don't even know what that is. Like, please stop sending me about the fact that you have, you know, 2-for-1s on 3-button polo shirts. I don't want you to clog my email box.
So that's what's funny is companies can be as annoying as they want. They can be like worse than your like worst neighbor ever in the history of the world. You know what I mean? They take these liberties all on purpose. It's like when you call customer service and they say, oh, I don't have an email. I don't have a phone number. obviously you do. You work at, you work for Walmart. So yeah, you do. Cause they hand those out and someone needs to call you. And oh, by the way, you're on a phone right now. And I love the Merry Christmas from so-and-so. I still get some from like a mortgage broker we used like 4 years ago in California. Like, I'm like, why am I still on your list? Like, I haven't talked to you in forever. Why does this need to keep happening? I've never wished you Merry Christmas. You know what I mean?
Well, they value you. They value your business, and
yeah.
they'll send it out there every holiday. So another part of this. So email is your virtual mail. I feel the same way about actual mail. And I've said this all the time. Why are you still in 2022? Why are you allowed to send people junk mail? Okay. What you're basically doing is you're sending them garbage. And I don't think that's right. So there's laws out there that if somebody came to my house and dumped a bunch of garbage in my lawn, like on my lawn, that would be littering, right? Like that's against the law. But a company can send me as much garbage as possible in my mailbox, and it's still garbage. You're giving me an errand. So you go to your mailbox, and let's say you have 10 things, maybe 2 of them are something you actually need. Half of them are credit card offers that you just immediately. But then the other 3, 4 things, it's junk mail, and they're basically just dropping garbage in your mailbox. Why is that legal? Because you couldn't do that. You couldn't drop garbage on my lawn, on my driveway. And all that you've done is you've created more garbage for me, an errand. And I'm not cool with that.
Well, tell that to thousands of realtors across the United States of America who, I don't know, they think that they just took like the best headshot. This was the powerful one. This was the one when they really think like this will, now I'll get 100 clients that want to buy and sell homes. Let me just send a stranger a postcard with me in a power suit and with my hair done. And like, Joe Smith is going to call me up from Florida. It's like, I always marvel. I'm like, when did that work for you? You're a quote unquote business person. Like, okay, you spent some money on this direct mailing campaign. When did it work? How much money did you get back from it? When do you call it quits, Charlie? If you're a realtor, you've been direct mailing people for 5 years. No one has responded. Is that enough for you personally to go, maybe I'll look at another marketing strategy? Like, or do you just keep going saying, no, now I'm almost angry and I'm going to prove a point that someone will call me.
Yeah.
What's your take on that? Do you go another 5 years or do you just stop?
I would think that it has to work. I mean, I don't think they would do it if it doesn't work. I mean, you're not going to do that forever. And I think it's funny you mentioned the realtors, and they're sneaky though. Like if you send me a piece of junk mail, but if you give me even the smallest trinket of value, I will, like, for example, realtors, they will give you the pocket schedule. So it'll be the realtor, but it might be the Cardinal schedule.
Oh, you like that. You like that.
Do I like it? No, but I want to know the schedule. So the Blues, if you give me your realtor and it has your picture, but then you give me the Blues schedule, I mean, I'm the type of person, I would put that on the fridge. Now, my wife doesn't want anything on the fridge, but I would put the realtor schedule. If you gave me the Cardinal schedule during the season, I would want that up there. So whenever I went to get my coffee or go in the fridge, I want to see who's playing on that certain day. This also happened with, so in my college, Bradley University, I used to donate like a very small amount of money. It wasn't anything. And then I stopped because I'm like, and then also this is a different conversation, but just the price of college is a scam. Yeah. It's a scam. Yeah. I mean, I went to Bradley 20 years ago. It cost about $20,000. Now it costs like $50,000. And this
you're talking about 20 total or per year?
No. So no, $20,000 per year. When I went to Bradley, I started in the fall of 2000. I think tuition was about $7 each semester. So 14-ish, room and board's about $5, whatever. So it was about 20 per year. Now it's like 50. I think the cost of college is just out of this world of scam. We can get into that another day.
Yeah, we'll have to save that because there's a lot there. Yeah. Right.
But so I stopped donating to Bradley just because whatever. I wasn't giving any huge amount anyway. But then they got me back. You know how? They sent me those address labels, and it says
With
Charlie
your name
Marlow,
and address on them.
and it says BU, Bradley University with the little logo. And it was just enough of a dumb trinket that I was back in because I used them. Like, let's be real. If you write a letter, it's so much easier to not have to write the up top left corner your name. You just have that little address label. So I'm telling you, man, stuff like that and the pocket schedule, I do think some of that works.
Do me a favor, never go to like a trade show. You're there, you are their dream. Walking by, you'll buy everything from every booth for a coaster, for a koozie. I mean, you love that the swag, right? You just love any of the free little keychains. Oh, you are their dream, dude. They're making those things for 30 cents. And you're gonna end up buying a house with that guy or girl.
Well, here's the thing though. I hate like garbage knickknacks. And I think, if my dad is watching this, my dad is the king of knickknacks, trinkets. Even now, he was just visiting us. He'll do antique shows. And so there's always stuff around the house. And I've kind of went oppo in the sense of I want to get rid of all of that. However, he actually, I might do a YouTube video on this. He brought me, because I told him to, all my aforementioned buddies who are all in the group text, they're now obsessed with baseball cards. They're obsessed with baseball cards again. I had my dad bring me all of my best baseball cards from about 30 years ago, and I was looking through them the other night, and I'm telling you, man, like, I'm super excited now to try to get these cards graded. So even though I chirped my dad for being Mr. Trinket guy, the fact that he kept all those baseball cards, they're in pristine condition, they're still in the little cases up there. So now who knows, maybe I have a gold mine.
We got that. Well, you're gonna have to hold that, because I got to get a hold of my box, that my mom has somewhere. Cause I got to go through mine too. I think a couple Topps box sets in there. I'm not trying to brag. I'm not trying to brag here. Don Mattingly rookie card was one of my prizes. I got to look at my NBA, the early upper deck years, see who I got in there. Yeah, we got to go toe to toe here.
Well, that's what's crazy now is, so I never got any of these cards graded. Okay. But apparently nowadays, like, this is big time money where people who are investors are now getting into baseball cards. They're buying these cards, they're getting them graded. And apparently the PSA, which is the company that does the grading, they're backlogged because so many people are trying to get them graded. So this happened, my dad comes to visit. We see him Saturday. So Saturday night, by the way, I mentioned earlier that I fall asleep during the second half of the Packers-Niners game. I wake up, I'd been drinking a little bit, not too much, but now I can't go to sleep. So what am I doing? I'm 39 years old. I'm going through my baseball cards at 1 or 2 a.m. I'm Googling every single one. I'm going to eBay. I'm Googling, not everyone, but there's probably 200 cards. Every one that I thought could be really valuable, I'm Googling them. I'm checking eBay. I'm seeing what they're going for. And then this is 2 a.m. I've had probably 3-4 beers, and I'm like, is this card mint? Is it a little off center?
Check the corners. Check the corners.
Is that corner frayed? I mean, dude, I'm almost 40 years old.
What kind of equipment are you holding these cards in? We got the soft sleeves. You got hard cases. What do we got?
Well, you know how it is. So with the good stuff, you got to go soft sleeve first into the top loader. Remember the top loader?
Yeah.
They're all top loaders, baby. That's what I'm saying. Like, we were into this game back when I was, my era. And
did you ever put the binder together where you put 12 cards or whatever, 9 cards, in each little slot? And I used to have I still do, they're somewhere, but like a binder of them with the plastic sleeves, like all one grid.
100%. But that was in our early days before we kind of transitioned to the top loaders. But you bring that up. This is where, again, I'm pathetic talking about this, but as I've gotten into looking up these baseball cards, I see that there's these uncut sheets of Sports Illustrated for kids cards. And I'm thinking to myself, I have all these.
Those are a hot property item.
If, back in the day, before I got big Sports Illustrated, I had Sports Illustrated for kids. And this is when I was collecting cards. So I knew I should not, they're perforated. I didn't separate. So I have sheets. I'm calling my dad. I'm like 39 years old with 2 kids. Hey, can you look around in the closet? Because I know I have these Sports Illustrated for kids full sheets, because I read that the Mia Hamm card was really valuable. And so is the Tiger Woods card. And I don't know. It's just, it's pretty crazy.
Just be honest with me. All of your collection is just Fleer, right?
Oh man, I got Fleer tops. Here's Upper Deck. Like you said, it brings back memories. Pinnacle, Stadium
Yeah.
Club. I remember all these cards. It's funny because you did the podcast with Jose Canseco.
Yeah.
Jose Canseco, I know you guys are buddies. He was my favorite player growing up to the point where I could really embarrass myself. I have an entire binder, and all it is Jose Canseco cards and like any magazine cover, any Beckett, what was it, Tough Stuff, any magazine that had Jose Canseco. I have an entire binder devoted to him.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Oh, that's good. Well, it's all right. We'll send it to him. We'll sign it for you. Send it back.
That's the one guy I figure maybe eventually, Jose Canseco, does he come on our podcast together? We'll figure it out. But he was the one guy. I used to go to Detroit Tigers versus Oakland A's games all the time because I love the A's. So we drive up an hour to Detroit, and my mom and dad would let me wait outside. There was the area where the visiting team would go to the buses, and there was some security almost dividers there, but they would sign autographs. And I tried to get Jose Canseco's autograph at least 5 or 10 different games over the course of 5 years. And he was like the one Oakland A's player I never got his autograph.
Did you ever get close?
Well, he would walk by. I mean, I got McGuire, I got Tony La Russa, I got like
was he stopping
everybody
to sign, or did he always keep walking?
I have to say he was not a stop and signer, at least when I was, again, this is probably 1990 to 1994. That was my real like hardcore era of baseball cards too. I mean, when I was going through these cards, they kind of started at 1990, and I don't know if I hit puberty in 94 and I realized girls were interesting, but that's like the second my baseball card collection ended right there in 1994.
You can mark it right there. You're like, oh, I'm noticing if it was a CSI investigator, he'd be like, I'm noticing a pattern here, right about 94.
Exactly. No doubt. All right, buddy. So we have our locks for this week, right?
All right, so before we go, of course, let's just keep making money, because obviously that's all we do with our picks.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati at KC -7. We could do points this week too if we want. That one's at 53.5. San Fran at the Rams -3.5. Rams -3.5. The points 46.5. So I'll go first because I made you go first last time. Okay. You're not gonna like it.
All right.
You're not gonna like it. The Rams to cover.
Okay.
3.5.
All right. Man, this is tough. This is tough for me. I just feel like, and I know that this emotionally, I don't want the Rams to win. I really don't. But the 49ers, I feel like as underdogs. And if you're giving me that hook, if you're giving me the 3.5, I feel pretty good about that. I think the Niners defensively are really good. I think they can score enough, but that's where, man, the Rams offense, I feel like at its peak is much better than the 49ers. So I'm kind of talking myself out of this.
Yeah, and the front, their front was just wreaking havoc all day. So they're going to be at home, but you're right. If you say you give 3 at home and it's 3.5, it's kind of like a scratch. It's, it's a pick 'em then. But I just think they'll get enough. By the way, side note, I did read or hear something interesting that when, how people sometimes they try to buy playoff tickets like before the game's even over for the next round.
Uh-huh.
Well, the Rams didn't want all 49ers fans buying those tickets because apparently the previous game when they played, it was like all Niners fans. So they blocked it. And on their website, it literally said, hey, we're currently only selling tickets to the next round if you have a billing address in the greater Los Angeles area to stop people from NorCal scooping up all the tickets ahead of time, and basically having the stadium to themselves. So I thought that was pretty genius. And now here they are. They're going to square up. So maybe that's a good sign too. Maybe they're going to get more of a home field advantage.
Okay. So I'm kind of, I don't know. I do like the 49ers getting 3.5, but just I've kind of changed my mind as we go here. I think even though I'm liking Joe Burrow, I like the Bengals offense. I just think if the Chiefs are really clicking, I could see that being a 10, 14 point victory. So, because last time we picked the same game, I'll
Yep.
pick a different game, and I'm going to go ahead. I'll take the Chiefs, giving up the 7. Man, if it was 6.5, I'd feel a lot better. But
I know that's tough. You got to win by 8. Okay.
yeah, that's my lock there.
There it is. Lock picks, guys. Lock picks. I called that. I can't. You know, I know it's the title of the show, but I just can't wait to say it next week when the Rams cover. And I don't, you know, to be honest, I don't know about your pick. It wasn't my pick, so I can't really defend you on that. But I know my pick's solid.
I love it, man. This was fun. And again, you know, I feel bad, but this is the diva in me, because this second segment here, we did have the edit point. I'm so much more relaxed. I feel good. I feel confident in my takes because my lighting is good. And I'm telling you, early on there, the second my ring light broke, just mentally, dude, that's how easy, that's how mentally weak I am. Like, if I was a golfer, dude, all you have to do is heckle me a little bit and I'm done. Like, you have all my money. That's all it takes.
So yeah, like if me and you were professional golfers, I would just have to kind of like in passing, just be like, man, last time you pushed that right, and just kind of keep walking away, and you're toast. That's it.
Done. By the way,
Yeah.
this is one of those things where we never end the show because we keep adding on to it, which I think is fine.
That's correct.
Like, you ever at a wedding where you're at the country club, wherever the wedding is, and let's say the first hour is an outdoor cocktail hour. So everybody's outside. It's nice out there on the balcony, but they're right there by the 1 tee or the 10 tee, and people are still golfing. So everybody's at the wedding, everybody's drinking, and then the golfers go up there and everybody's heckling them. Everybody's heckling like, dude, if that dude duffs or swings and misses, every single one of those dudes at the wedding is going to crush that person. Like, that's one of my greatest fears. If I was on the 1 tee and there was a wedding and all these people are watching me, I promise you I swing and miss. I promise you I swing and miss. Because
I promise you I would swing and miss too. I may scream and heckle back. Granted, I'm already in the cart and I know we're about to pull off.
There you go. Love it, buddy. Good stuff. I called that. Episode 2. We made it. We made it to the second week.
We made it happen. See you next week.
See you, man.